What up, everybody? Motherfuckerettes. Welcome to another episode of the HOT podcast, the hot podcast with Pato. And, it's heads or tails. So, last time I did we talked about music, the music that I grew up listening to. Back in the day, I put some of my cousins on blast for turning me on to Two Live Crew and making me a little perv at that age. I'm just kidding. Nobody put a gun to my head. But what I'm saying, if I'm saying anything, you motherfuckers know it's true. Anyway, I'm just kidding. So anyway, that's what we talked about. So this week, before we do the coin toss, heads, we continue talking about the music. Tails, we go into deconstruction of my religious beliefs. Also, little challenge here that was brought to my attention. On TikTok, it's going around where they're taking, scanning and making if you're a male, you make a female version of yourself. And if you're a female, you make a male version of yourself. And the whole thing, if you wouldn't date the female version of yourself or male version of yourself, depending, you need to lower your standards type thing. So anyway, heads, I got to do it and post it on TikTok and Instagram and maybe snaps. Tails, I don't have to. So, heads, I got to do the challenge, continue talking about music. Tails, I don't have to do the challenge. And we go into the deconstruction of my religious beliefs. So, let's get to the coin toss. Heads. Well, motherfuckers and motherfuckerettes, look like we continue talking about music. And back when I was a youngster and, the good old times, or, when we're young and it's the good old days, but we just don't know it at the time. And I guess I am doing the TikTok challenge. Yeah, the one where Pato will take a picture and then do the scanning thing and make a female version of himself and be like, the whole, if you wouldn't date yourself, lower your standards, and we'll see what the outcome is on that. Should be up by the time this podcast is up and running. So, yeah. It's funny because before we get started, I just want to, first of all, motherfuckers, how are you guys doing? How you been? I think there's a way you can interact here. You can text. You can tell me how you doing, how you feeling. You like the podcast, you don't like the podcast, or I don't know, whatever. Just you heard it, you didn't hear it. But anyway, how you guys doing? It's been a week. I'm still recouping from that sinus infection that fucked me up. It's crazy. A lot of the times, normally I'm a very healthy individual. It's just that I've been going through a lot. Like I said, this last, I could tell you since Super Bowl Sunday, it's been a roller coaster ride for me and my family. So I haven't been sleeping the way I normally do. A lot of, see, there it is. Reality is, as soon as I press the record button, that's when I want to cough. I want to sneeze. But what I'm saying is that, it's been a roller coaster ride, and it's, I guess the body wears itself out to the point where the immune system drops down and, shit catches up with you. So yeah, right now I'm recouping. Like I said, I'm at about 85%. There's still that 15% that might be fucking with me a little. So please bear with me. And I guess we continue talking about the good old days. Last episode I talked about how my grandma's the coolest because your grandma may be cool, but I guarantee you she's not bought you the License to Ill vinyl cool, There's levels of coolness, and my grandma was the most motherfucking coolest ever. I'm just saying, hey, I mean, unless she bought you the Beastie Boy records, and we're talking about this is back in this had to be like 1986 or 1987 for me. Wow, 1986, 87. I don't know, could have been close to 88. All I know is that that began a journey, where I discovered I got more into hip hop. I mean, I was listening to stuff like we all knew about the original, like The Roof is on Fire. Then I can't think of the artist. I'm gonna have to look it up. But that song that was like release yourself, release. And I mean, we knew all that because right around that time, like I said, I was 11, 12. I mean, right around the time when I hit sixth grade is when we were allowed to go to the school dances. And of course, we were just there to make fun of the other kids or to see who would do what, who would dance what. And I kind of regret that because, I wish I would have been one of them kids that just didn't give a damn and go have fun on the dance floor. But, back then we're all just like standing on the wall looking who's going to ask who to dance and who's dancing and who's not dancing and shit. If you think about it, fuck, life never changes. I mean, it doesn't matter what stage in life we're going through. We're always the same way, standing around looking who's going to do what, who's not doing what, who's going out with who's not going out, who, all that bullshit. There's this song from Bowling for Soup that says high school never ends. And, it's right now it hits home right now because, I just had my 17-year-old graduated high school. So big ups to her. I'm very proud of her. Now, I mean, it's wow. It's kind of scary, because we didn't think much of it when we were going through it because, when we were that age, we thought we were big shit. But now that I've seen 3 graduations so far. I've been, you could say, blessed. I mean, even though now I question who's doing the blessing, but you could say the universe has blessed me with 3 graduations. My oldest graduated. I got to see her graduate. My next one, which is my boy, got to see his graduation. And right now, like I said, my 17-year-old, this is my 3rd graduation I've seen, my kids. So one more to go. And then, of course, then my oldest grandkid should be right around the same time as my 15-year-old, or maybe a year sooner, because I don't know, because of the way, how sometimes you're like held back depending on what month you're born. So it is what it is. But what I'm saying is right now, Bowling for Soup, High School Never Ends. It's been very, very, very fresh on my mind. And I mean, that's, you know what, while I recollect my thoughts and continue on this, I'm gonna put that on. Last podcast, when I was putting in the music, I thought it was just music clips. I had no idea that it was going to play the whole songs until I heard the published podcast. And I was like, damn, this is going to be a lot of fun. So right now, while I recollect myself and gather more thoughts, and I hope you guys are all doing great, by the way. Hope everything's going great with you guys. Like I said, my life's been a roller coaster, but doing good. And like I said, we do our best, Life gives you lemons. You throw them at bypassing cars. I know. I mean, you make lemonade, or I don't know. Fuck you. To do whatever, Put them on your chips and with salsa or whatever on your hot Cheetos. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Let's go on to the next section. I think I'm gonna put that on Bowling for Soup. High School Never Ends. Just because we had a recent graduation. To listen to the music I am talking about, go to Spotify, Pato's Empower House, Episode 1, Tying Up Loose Ends. Oh, right, motherfuckers, we're back. And yeah, that was Bowling for Soup. High school never ends. And if you think about it, I mean, we grow older, and no matter what stage we are in life, nothing changes. People are always gossiping. If you're at work, what do they call that? Water cooler gossip or uh, break room gossip. People are always talking about who's going out with who's dating what, who's got a new car, who's got fired, who got hired. And it's always some of the similar type things. I mean, back in high school, I mean, people were always talking about how the cheerleaders and the football players, were hooking up and this and that. And dude over there, had game and he was always in the girls' bathrooms getting laid and shit like that, all kinds of stupid shit like that. And then there was the stoners, getting high, trying not to get caught by security. And then, there was others that would take vodka and 7 Up on a thermos to school. I'm not saying, mentioning any names, but, all I'm saying, if I'm saying anything, is that, high school never appears to end. I mean, it's always the same. People are always just obsessed with what other people are doing. Um, and then, as sometimes when we get older, we learn to mind our own fucking business and we live a much happier life when we're not focusing on what other people are doing, when we're not competing with anybody but ourselves. We start paying attention. But we start paying attention to what we are doing and living our own lives. But sometimes it takes us a while to get there. I mean, for some people, it's a lifetime. Some of us don't learn to stop comparing ourselves to others till we're like, I don't know, up in our 40s. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, going back to the music, going back to the good old days. Yeah, I've been out of practice out of the recording, so a whole bunch of the and you knows and whatever are back in the mix. Now, I'm trying to avoid them because, well, I'm trying to be as professional as possible. But it just happens. As you can see, there's a somewhere there. And of course, we're trying to keep this real, keep the conversation like you would when you're talking to friends. And a lot of us, well, we have little quirks, little things that we say, little catchphrases. I mean, I used to say basically a lot, or I mean, a lot of the things I say now is what I'm saying. If I'm saying anything is, well, yeah, there we go. No, okay. So, traveling back in time to a time when Pato was a younger youngster. And I was discovering music. Like I said, originally my tastes were simple. I was listening to stuff on the radio, whatever. We had KCCP, what was it? KCCP, the number one hit music station, 104.7. That was in Phoenix. And they played music like Lisa Lisa and the Cold Jam, Denise Williams, what was the songs that was popular at the time? Head to Toe, Let's Hear It for the Boy. Wow, man, that just takes me back to a time. So, a lot of music I heard was stuff from the radio. They would play Bon Jovi, I guess. So, we were all singing Living on a Prayer. Um, a lot of things that I originally picked up were from the radio. And that's when we used to sit there with our cassette tapes, and the waiting for the radio DJ to shut the fuck up so that we could hit the record button. And then as the song was ending, we were trying to be quick just in case the motherfucker decided to talk right before the song ended, because I think they knew we were doing that. And they would do that on purpose, kind of to force us to go by the actual cassette tape or record. Because, that's how we downloaded music back in the day. We sat there waiting for hours on the radio, listening to what songs we were going to record and which ones we weren't. And nowadays, I mean, hey, shit, you got streaming apps like the one we're on right now, Spotify, where you can just look up the name of the song and man, it's so fucking awesome. I mean, if you would have told my teenage self that this was going to be a possibility, to have your fucking telephone, cam recorder, video recorder, fucking VCR, basically, because you can watch movies, you can do whatever the fuck on this TV, and then you could have your entire fucking music collection anywhere you go, anywhere, I mean, seriously, I had to buy some tapes over and over because I would leave them in my car. And if you've lived in Phoenix or been to Phoenix, you know that in the summertime, you leave a cassette tape in your car, that motherfucker's going to get all bent and twisted. And the one thing I really hated was leaving vinyls in the car, leaving them. Oh gosh, I would buy a vinyl and somehow, for some stupid reason, I would forget and leave it in the car. And then when I come back, the vinyl's all warped and shit. Oh, that was horrible. But anyway, as I was saying, we used to listen to stuff from the radio, music from the radio, and well, our tastes started changing as, like, for me, like I said, sixth grade hit. We were allowed to go to the school dances there in school. I remember the eighth graders and the seventh graders didn't want us there because we acted like little kids, and damn right. I mean, we were little kids. We were just there looking around. Hey, look at this motherfucker dance. He looks funny. And then, of course, then somebody would point out, yeah, but he's out there dancing with what's her name, and you're just here playing with your tallywhacker standing against the wall. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, that's right. We wouldn't think about that, but, we were just there looking at other people dance, because, at that age, we all think we're big shit. I mean, it's funny, as I was saying, I had my 17-year-old graduate recently, and I see a little kid. Hell, when my 33-year-old graduated, I thought she was a little kid. When my 25-year-old graduated, I thought they're kids. But when I I didn't get to graduate per se. I had a middle school graduation, and I went to high school, and towards the end, they told me that I owed an obscene amount of money for books that I remember turning in, but they said, no, you owe them or you can't graduate. So I was supposed to be class of 92, and I said, F you guys. I went and took my GED test in 91. So I got my GED in 1991. Now, like I said, so to me, my kids graduating is a big accomplishment because I wasn't able to do it because, well, I had to work. I had responsibilities. I'm not gonna make excuses for myself. But one of the biggest factors was that at the end of when I started 12th grade, I mean, I had a meeting with the counselors because they said that I owed $500 worth of books. Now, I'm 17 years old at this time, and for some reason, $500 seemed like the end of the world. I'm like, a fortune. Who am I kidding? I wish I had $500 in my pocket right now. It seemed like a fortune, and it's a small fortune. But what I'm saying is, for $500 back then, I mean, hell, you could buy cars here in Phoenix, Arizona for $500 back in the late 80s, early 90s. So, yeah, and it was 91. I said, well, it looks like I'm not graduating, so went and took the test at Phoenix College and got my GED. So, yeah, I'm very proud of my graduates. But like I was saying is that at that age, I already thought of myself as, I'm big, I'm grown, I know what I'm doing. And I look at the graduates now, and I'm like, fuck, they're little kids. Hell, I see college kids now, and I'm like, that's it, college kids. Of course, when I was in high school and middle school and high school, we thought of college people like old-ass people, But now, as Pato grows and realizes that he's not the younger youngster that he used to be, I mean, you look at all these college kids, high school kids, I mean, they're children. And the thing is, they got their whole lives ahead of them. So we try to be as supportive as possible. And like I said, for once, I'm proud that I've had my share of blessings, like I said, with my three kids so far. Three of my kids have graduated, which is a big accomplishment. Gone to college, done some college, and they're still young. They got their whole lives ahead of them, whole world of possibilities. And what I'm saying now is that, yeah, high school never seems to end. So anyway, going back to the music, talking about how I was a younger youngster going to the school dances, and that's where we were exposed to other music. I remember one of the school dances got canceled because they were playing that's when hip hop and rap first started making showing up in the scene. Besides playing the music that was on the radio, they started mixing in hip hop, breakdancing music. And I remember, I don't know, I guess the DJ forgot that, or he tried to be slick and get away with it, And I can't remember which one it was, but the word motherfucker came up. And as soon as that was it, that was it. He was told to shut down the music. Party was over. So I remember that happened at one of the first school dances I went to when I was in sixth grade. And of course, we're sixth graders, so we're like, what the fuck, man? The record, it was playing, man, and they said motherfucker. And I mean, that's when we discovered, like I said, The Roof is on Fire. And then some early music, of course, we were listening to Herbie Hancock, Rocket. But it wasn't until, like I said, until I got sent to Calexico with my other set of parents, and me and my cousins there started sharing music. I brought a lot of music that I listened to on the radio, but they were listening to this other hip hop, and then we, like I said, I don't know what sparked it. Maybe the introduction of the Two Live Crew by my cousins from LA, but we just went on a music gathering spree, and we came across all these treasures. I mean, kind of wish I still had them. I mean, to this day, I still have a crate full of vinyl records from the old day. They're in my garage. I've been meaning to go clean them up and see what shape they're in. And this is from back in the 80s, but I'm kind of afraid that they might disintegrate as I try to pull them out of their sleeves. I don't know. But yeah, so back to the music. What I'm gonna play next is probably what got me into scratching. Because at first, I was more into pop music, but the hip hop part, I mean, when it comes to dancing, I got two left feet, so dancing, break dancing wasn't really. I like watching it, and I like the beat, but what really, really pulled me in was scratching. And one record that like totally got me hooked on scratching and turntablism, you wouldn't believe, but it was this song, the beginning of this song that I'm going to play next. Check it out. Remember, if you want to hear the music, go to Spotify, Pato's and Powerhouse, Episode 1, Tying Up Loose Ends. Motherfuckers. If you're still hanging out with me, I appreciate you. Thank you. You be illin'. What can I say? One day I was walking by a record shop and they had the speakers out and the intro, the beginning of the song played, and it was Jam Master Jay basically scratching to 1, 2, 3, 4, You just hear, yo, Jay, and then 1. And that just hooked me into scratching because it wasn't just about making the scratching sound like most of the records, like Herbie Hancock, Rocket, we were used to scratching like, that kind of stuff. But this motherfucker was scratching words. That opened up a whole new world for me, and that's how I got into turntablism. So yeah, uh, I went on collecting music, and it was an awesome time when I was like a teenager, staying at my uncle's and sharing music with my cousins. We went back and forth. Every week we would try to find something different, and then we'd get together. I mean, this little laundry room, I mean, that room couldn't be, it had to be like, what, 6 by 8 at the most. It was just for the washing machines. Somehow the four of us there managed to put speakers in a little boom box, and we would just sit there listening to music, and sometimes even making our own mixes, like using the whatever equipment we had to try to remix the songs and do all kinds of crazy shit. You know, excuse me. I think about those days, and it's like I said, it's the good old days. You just had no fucking clue that those were the good old days. And life wasn't all roses. I mean, like I said, we were going through shit. The fact that I was staying at my uncle's, that just meant that my parents were going through some shit, and either they weren't together or whatever things were happening, and they had shipped me over there because sometimes it was just easier. So what I'm saying, if I'm saying anything, even though life wasn't that great, those moments that I think about me and my cousins sitting down there in what we labeled as the D room. Why the D room? Well, one thing about being Latino and Hispanic, Mexican descent, is that a lot of the times when we're together, we speak what they call Spanglish. So the room was a total mess, was a total whatever, clusterfuck. So a word in Spanish for that is desmadre. So that was the D room, the room where we did our clusterfucks, or el cuarto del desmadre. So there we were, hanging out in the D room, which, sitting, we'd sit on this old school Maytag washing machine, the kind that had ringers, the kind that if you were stupid and you got your hand caught in those things would fuck you up. We'd sit on the fucking washing machine listening to music, and sometimes, like I said, we'd fucking make our own remixes out of it. We'd get shit together, mix it differently, and sometimes it would sound so flawlessly. I mean, considering it was just fucking cassette tapes, the way my cousin had a knack, and he had the patience for it. I mean, I'd get lucky sometimes, scratching was my thing, but mixing and piecing things together, I mean, this motherfucker had a knack for it, and the patience for it. So, like I said, I reminisce, I think back of the good old days and hanging out in the D room, listening to music like, let's see, one weekend I went out and I came back with UTFO. I don't know if you guys remember UTFO, but Roxanne. And that was a different experience. I mean, I brought UTFO, and I remember I think he got Boogie Down Productions, Criminal Minded. So, we started listening to all that old hip hop. So by the time Eazy-E, NWA came around, and they started mixing their music, we would recognize where the samples where they were getting stuff, like, NWA had gangsta, gangsta, that's what they're yelling, and then you hear, it's not about a salary, it's all about reality. We're like, hey, that's from Criminal Minded, that's Boogie Down Productions. Or Boys in the Hood, they would scratch that from Hold It Now, Hit It from the Beastie Boys, we were just like, shit. I mean, it was like mind blowing that we knew where all these samples were coming from, because we were always in there listening to music that we were just discovering, and it was so fucking cool. I mean, like I said, UTFO, Boogie Down Productions, Audio 2. And sometimes we would be like, yay, nay. I mean, a lot of the times we were looking for danceable stuff. things that would be lively. Um, and then sometimes, you know, uh, just things you could chill with. By the time Eazy-E and NWA came along, rap had already taken off to a whole different level. It wasn't just like before when we were listening to, LL Cool J was there part of it too, because I remember LL Cool J I'm Bad record came out, and that song had what caught my attention, of course, anything that had scratching on it. So I'm Bad, you had Cut Creator there scratching the Cool Cool J, that part from LL Cool J's previous work, you know, Rock the Bells. He had that part where he says LL Cool J is hard as hell. So the new record, I'm Bad, had that part Cool J, that came from that part. So anyway, oh wow, I'm sitting here thinking, and all these thoughts come to my head, and I'm trying to connect my brain to my mouth so that I can express efficiently, so that I can communicate to you what I'm trying to say. But it's just that all these memories and everything run up in my head, and I'm trying to tell you all about it. And it's crazy how we get older and we learn to appreciate music. And lately, that's what I've been doing. I've been going back, listening to a lot of the stuff that I used to listen to back then. And that's what I meant to try to say in the last podcast. If you haven't had a chance to sit down and reconnect with your old music, you should, sit down, reconnect with your old music. It's funny how it brings back feelings, takes you back to a time, when you were young and you thought that, hey, everything was going to be okay. And for most of us, it is. I am blessed. Like I said, I'm not religious now, but there's still things that I still say, like I'm blessed. Because what's blessed me? Well, life has blessed me, the universe. Is there a higher power? Well, I will address that in my other podcast when I start talking about the deconstruction of my religious beliefs. I do believe there's a higher power. I just do not believe in the way religions. Whoa. I'm sorry. Whoa. See what I'm saying? This thing's still messing with my head. Kind of reminded me of that Brady Bunch episode, where Peter's losing his voice and they record that song, Changes. Oh, okay, whatever. You're too young to remember that, or you're too old. If you're around my age, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Those who know. So what I'm saying is I still believe there's a higher power, just I don't believe in the way the religions of the world have presented it to us. I definitely, American evangelist, American Christianity seriously needs an enema. And I think, let's face it, I think religion is probably the worst thing that could have happened to humanity, because it's what divides us, in my opinion. I don't know. Some of y'all need religion. Some of y'all, I understand, you need something bigger than yourself to believe in. And I'm not here to try to take away that from you. I'm not here to try to push any of my beliefs on you. I'm just telling you, I don't believe in that anymore. I don't believe the way I used to. So, okay, we save that stuff for whenever I'm talking about that. Right now, it's the music, and as I was saying, bringing you back. Music is the closest thing we have to a time machine, so I'm gonna play some UTFO for you. You know what I'm saying? Now that I brought it up right now, it brought me back to the old days, because this song particularly was one of the songs that they would play in those sixth grade school dance parties. That was part of the hip hop that was slowly integrating itself with the pop music at the time. So yeah. Remember to listen to this music. Go to Spotify, Pato's and Powerhouse, episode 1. tying up loose ends. Motherfuckers and motherfuckerettes, thank you for sticking around. If you've been following along since the beginning, I appreciate you. And thank you, for, I don't know, lending me your ears. I've been sharing with you some of the music that I grew up with, stuff that I was exposed to as a younger youngster and that I still listen to this very day. Um, I'll admit I haven't warmed up to the newer hip hop. I think I drew the line somewhere in 2010. I mean, I'm very selective. I mean, I do allow new music in. I'm not that narrow-minded yet, but I've like I said, I understand each generation has their thing. I mean, for us was taking samples of old music and making hip hop, making music what it is today. And I mean, the younger kids, they have taken what we did and done something different, And everything, changes with the times, and that's the one thing that we all have to. One thing that I've learned is that, be flexible, keep up with the times, be teachable. I don't know everything. So, motherfuckerettes, be teachable. Because, I mean, you might know a lot of shit, but you don't know everything. There's always room for improvement in all of us. Thank you for sticking around. The coin toss was heads, so I'll be doing that TikTok challenge where I'll do the whole if you wouldn't date your female self, I mean, lower your standards thing. So I'll post that up when it's done and ready. And you motherfuckers and motherfuckerettes have a wonderful week, wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful whatever it is today or tonight or whenever you're listening. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys later.